When I told my parents I was leaving med school, my mom said I was killing her slowly. At church potlucks, she introduced me as still figuring things out, with a tight smile. What she didn't know? I was running a secret community shelter, one that just helped her friend's daughter escape an abusive home. Subscribe for more real stories that hit deep and stay with you. My name's Evan Rosario, 32, and I live in Seattle now. I left med school in my 3rd year, not because I couldn't hack it, but because I couldn't take watching people fall through the cracks. My parents haven't really forgiven me. These days, I run Harbor House, a low-key shelter and resource center for women and teens in crisis. It's not flashy, it's not respected, but it works. Just not in ways my family ever cared to notice until they had to. It wasn't one moment that broke me. It was thousands. The 4th suicidal patient in a week. The nurse who whispered, "We'll stabilize her, then discharge. No beds." The attending who told me, "If you can't compartmentalize, you're in the wrong field." I started going numb during rotations. My hands worked. My face nodded. But inside, I was folding in on myself. I'd gone into medicine to help people, not tape over their lives, and send them back into the same broken systems. I told my parents I was taking a leave of absence. My dad didn't say much. My mom cried and said, "After all we sacrificed." That line echoed in my head for weeks. I moved into a cheap studio and started volunteering at a local shelter in Capitol Hill. At first, it was just sorting clothes and taking night shifts. Then I started listening. Then I started helping. Then I started dreaming. Within 6 months, I put everything I had into building Harbor House from the ground up. No pay, no prestige, just purpose. And I didn't tell my parents a word. I became a ghost in my own family. I stopped going to Sunday dinners, skipped weddings, dodged texts. Every conversation with my mom felt like a landmine. "Are you seeing patients again? How's your sabbatical?" I'd say I was busy with community work, and she'd sigh like I told her I was panhandling. What she didn't know was that Harbor House was already at capacity most nights. A converted duplex with 10 beds, a pantry, and a shoestring staff made up of volunteers and 2 part-time counselors. Word was spreading. Quietly, without funding or press, we were becoming a last resort for the people no one had time for. Runaways, single moms, trans teens kicked out of their homes. My friend Julia, a caseworker who'd left the hospital system like me, once said, "You built what the ER couldn't." That stuck with me. But at home, I was still the disappointment. Mom would introduce me at church events with, "He used to be in med school." My name would land in conversation like a dropped plate. People would nod sympathetically, and I'd just smile and sip coffee. One rainy evening, a girl showed up at Harbor House soaked to the skin, clutching a trash bag of clothes and a cracked phone. She couldn't have been more than 17. Said her name was Lila. Wouldn't say much else. Julia got her a warm meal, and I found a dry hoodie in the donations bin. Navy blue, oversized. She didn't take off her shoes for 2 days. Just sat curled in the common room, staring at the door. By the end of the week, she started talking. Slowly. Turns out her stepdad was abusive. Her mom didn't believe her. She'd been couch hopping, living out of friends' garages, skipping school, barely eating. When someone mentioned Harbor House on a TikTok thread about safe places in Seattle, she took 2 buses to get to us. I helped her enroll in a GED program. Julia got her into therapy. She smiled for the first time on day 10. "I haven't felt safe in over a year," she whispered. She never knew I had once worn a white coat. She didn't care. I wasn't her doctor. I was just someone who made a place where she could breathe. A month later, My mom begged me to come to her church's holiday potluck. "Just show your face," she said. "People are starting to talk." I caved, put on a button-down I hadn't worn in a year, and showed up with a tray of store-bought cookies. The reception was frosty. A few nods, some polite half-smiles. Then one of the elders leaned in and said, "Still taking a break from the doctor thing?" I smiled through my teeth and walked toward the coffee table. Just then, I heard a voice behind me, familiar, shaky. "Evan?" I turned. It was a middle-aged woman, clutching a casserole dish, eyes wide. "I think you run Harbor House, right?" I nodded slowly. She stepped closer, voice cracking. "My daughter, Lila, she ran away. She's with you, isn't she? She's safe?" My chest tightened. She looked nothing like Lila, but the resemblance was there, in the fear, in the hope. "She is," I said. "She's doing really well." The room fell silent around us. Then she said the words that landed like thunder. "I don't know who you are to this community, but to me, you're a blessing." My mom, standing nearby, dropped her fork. We left the potluck in silence. My mom drove like the steering wheel owed her something, knuckles white, jaw set. I stared out the window, half expecting her to unload on me. Instead, halfway home, she pulled over. "I didn't know," she said, staring straight ahead. "Lila's mom volunteers in our prayer group. She said your place saved her daughter's life." I didn't say anything. I wasn't sure if she was proud or ashamed. She finally looked at me. "Why didn't you tell us?" I exhaled. "Because you didn't want to hear it. You wanted the doctor version of me, not this." She blinked. "I just didn't want to watch you waste your gifts." "I'm using them," I said. "Every day, just in a different way." The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was hollow, like something had finally cracked open. She didn't apologize, but she didn't insult me either. That was progress. When we pulled into her driveway, she turned and said, "Next Sunday, bring a flyer or something, about Harbor House." It wasn't an apology, but it felt like a door. The following Sunday, I showed up at my mom's church with a stack of flyers and zero expectations. I wore a clean hoodie and jeans, just like I do at Harbor House. No pretending. As people trickled into the fellowship hall, I pinned one of the flyers to the community board by the entrance. The title read, "Safe, Warm, and Open Harbor House Shelter." Beneath it, a photo of our modest duplex and a few lines about our mission. Most people walked past. A few gave me small nods. One older woman looked at the flyer, looked at me, then whispered, "God bless you, son." When the service ended, I caught Lila's mom standing by the board, handing out extra flyers. My mom stood beside her. I couldn't hear their conversation, but I saw it. My mom's eyes were softer, her posture less stiff. She wasn't hiding me anymore. Later, she pulled me aside and asked, "How many beds do you have?" 10, I said. She nodded thoughtfully. "Let me know what you need. Maybe our women's group can help." I smiled. "Thanks, Mom." This time she didn't flinch. A few months later, Harbor House got a grant. Small, but enough to add 3 more beds and hire another counselor. The day we painted the new rooms, my mom showed up with 2 crock pots of chili and enough cornbread to feed an army. She didn't say much, just rolled up her sleeves and started serving volunteers. When Lila walked by and gave her a hug, my mom blinked, then hugged her back like she meant it. Later, I found her standing in the hallway, looking at a photo wall we'd put up. Portraits of residents who gave us permission to share their stories. Some in caps and gowns, some smiling with their kids, some just looking safe. My mom turned to me. "This place, it's healing people." I nodded. "That's the idea." She studied me for a long moment. "I used to dream of you in a white coat, but this—" She gestured to the walls, the rooms, the life we'd built. "This is bigger than I ever imagined." And for the first time, I realized she wasn't mourning what I left behind. She was proud of what I chose.